Hello, welcome to News Round with me, Nina. We've got loads for you this Saturday morning, including top tips if you're doing a bit of rock pooling this weekend, and this endangered baby elephant taking its first steps. But first, let's start with some dino news. Have you ever wondered just how big some dinosaurs were? Well, a drought in the US state of Texas has revealed real-life dino prints that have been hidden at the bottom of a riverbed. Dry conditions and hot weather has meant that the river has dried up, showing the footprints, which are thought to be around 113 million years old. And they clearly show that the dinosaur who left them was no small customer. It was initially thought that the footprints might have belonged to the infamous T-Rex, but Park Superintendent Jeff Davies has set the dino story straight.
It's a dinosaur called Acrocanthosaurus from 113 million years ago. It was a bipedal, two-legged carnivore, small arms, very much like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but a little bit smaller. But it was still a pretty large creature. They were about 7 tons or so when they were big. So it's not a small critter for sure.
OK, let's have a look at some of the big stories over on our website. Energy prices are going to increase for millions of households in England, Scotland and Wales. The increase has been announced by the energy regulator Ofgem. They're the people who decide how much energy companies can charge households. There's lots of information on this online about what this means and how this might affect you. And while you're there, you can read about the bin strikes, which are happening across parts of Scotland. Workers have stopped collecting the rubbish because they want to be paid more to help cover the rise in the cost of everyday items such as food. The unions, who represent the workers, are in talks with local councils to reach a pay deal. Still to come this morning, we hear from you about how much you love your dogs. But next up, if you're heading to the beach this weekend, or maybe you're still on your summer holidays, we've got a great activity for you. Why not try some rock pooling? Here's some tips for you rock pooling enthusiasts.
Hi News Round, my name's Josh and I'm here in sunny Cornwall today at one of Newquay's lovely beaches to talk to you guys about why rock pooling is a great activity to come and do this summer holidays, and I'm going to be giving you some top tips on just how to do it. Some of the most colourful UK wildlife can be found right here in the rock pools, from starfish to crabs to prawns to anemones. There's so much to see. A few top tips for when you go rock pooling is to make sure that you don't harm any of the wildlife. So that means if you turn up any stones to have a look underneath for animals, you must make sure the stone goes back exactly how you found it, because this could be an animal's house, and if we move their house, they might not be able to find it again. It also means that we don't pull anything off of the rocks, any seaweeds or animals, because if they're stuck on the rocks, that's where they belong, and pulling them off could hurt them. You also need to make sure you're dressed appropriately for the weather. So if it's nice and sunny, make sure you've got lots of sun cream on like I do today. And I've also bought a bottle of water and a hat in my bag in case the sun gets a bit too much. But if it's a bit more of a cloudy day, you've got to make sure you bring a jumper and a nice raincoat so you don't get cold and wet. The most important piece of equipment you can have is a good pair of shoes. Now, what you need to use is you either need to buy a pair of wetsuit boots like these, or even just a pair of wellies, and this just means you don't cut your feet on the sharp rocks that sometimes you have to climb over to get to the really interesting rock pools. It's also worth bringing a bucket along to the rock pools, and that way if you find anything really interesting you can pick it up and pop it inside the bucket for a quick look before popping it back. My best tip for going rock pooling though is that sometimes just sitting and waiting for the rock pools to sort of get used to you and all the fish and crabs to crawl out of their holes is sometimes the best way to find things. All you've got to do is sit still and watch for everything to come crawling out the sand and out of the rocks. My favourite thing about rock pooling is just you never know what you're going to find. So this summer holidays, when you're next at the seaside, why don't you guys give rock pooling a try? That's all from me. Bye.
Great tips, thanks Josh. Now, if you have a pet dog, now is the time to give them extra cuddles. Yesterday was International Dog Day, a time to celebrate our perfect pooches. Well, loads of you have been in touch to tell us about your perfect pets. One news rounder said, I have a puppy, Apollo. He is a Newfie poo. When I'm upset, he puts his head on my lap. I love my Labrador called Aspen, says Tiger Lover. He is smart, brave and caring, and sometimes naughty and mischievous. Yellow Banana has got a miniature sausage dog called Timmy, who's a fun little puppy and loves garden zoomies. And Super Dude said, yay, shout out to my dog called Ranger. Well, thank you for all your comments, they're brilliant. And finally, meet this endangered baby elephant taking its first steps after being born. The newest arrival at Whipsnade Zoo is an Asian elephant. Zookeepers said this is a massive success for the conservation of the species, who are threatened in the wild by habitat loss and climate change. The calf doesn't have a name yet, but is doing well and is being looked after by the herd. Oh, that is lovely news. Well, that's your news rounded up for me and the team today. But we'll be back right here tomorrow morning. And why not head to the Newsround website for all the latest stories, including what's next for Strictly star Rose Ayling-Ellis after leaving EastEnders. And why not test your news knowledge with our quiz of the week? I got 3 out of 5. Give it a go. Have a wonderful day. Bye.